As educators, because of copyright law, we have always been in the position where we must question what materials we can use with our students. The internet has become a great source for teaching materials. It has also made it too easy to violate copyright. Our jobs have become more challenging. The cartoon you see here was an easy download for presentation. But when I checked the usage rights, I found that the cartoonist would only give me educational rights to use it legally with students if I paid the $11 fee. Otherwise, I could not legally use this cartoon. I did pay the $11 with my PayPal account. Hopefully, the following video will give you better understanding about what you need to know about copyright. Do you have rights to post copyrighted materials on the web? In most cases, the answer is no. The Blade, a few years back, published an article about the Toledo Public Schools, where they had copied materials that they had purchased outside of the agreement with the publishing company. And because of this misuse of that copyright, the school board settled for a settlement of $59,600. This year, the Las Vegas Review published this article about Clark County school districts in a copyright infringement lawsuit. Here, a professional training book had been scanned and posted on the web for others to use. The district has yet to settle, but the settlement could be quite large. When you use material that you did not create and share it, you might be held liable. Recently, a publisher contacted our school district and said that they had found login and password information to their online materials on one of our teacher web pages. You see, publishers have these applications called web crawlers that go out and look for copyrighted materials on the internet. By posting this information publicly, the teacher was giving access to these online resources to the public. Our school district only purchased the rights for our own students to use. Therefore, by publishing it publicly, we were giving away material for free. And of course, the publisher was expecting payment. Since the posting was not up long and we removed it as soon as it was discovered, the publishing company has decided not to sue our school district. Anytime you use copyrighted material, you must follow copyright guidelines. Do you know and follow these guidelines? Take a look at your Magnolia Employee Handbook. On page 59, it cites what is expected in our school district of you. As I read, please follow. Employees are expected to comply with the provisions of federal copyright law relating to the unauthorized use, reproduction, distribution, performance, or display of copyrighted materials, whether it's in printed material, videos, computer data and programs. Electronic media, including motion pictures and other audiovisual works, are to be used in the classroom for instructional purposes only. Duplication or backup of computer programs and data must be made within the provisions of the purchase agreement. In today's easy access to everything world, it makes it easier for us to share information. Therefore, we must be diligent in knowing the law and following its guidelines. You can go to copyright.gov and read all you want, but you may become more confused. Take a look at some of these resources where you can learn about copyright and your rights as a teacher. Here are some other places where you can look for pictures and music to use in your projects where you have the right to use. Remember, you can't just take any picture you find on the web and use it in one of your projects. you need to make sure you have the rights to use it. One good source is Google Images. Just Google Images. Your page will come up like this. Let's say I'm looking for a picture of the Northern Lights. And I'll get hundreds right here. Before I just choose one, I need to make sure I have the rights to use it. So I'll click on Search Tools, Usage Rights. And let's say labeled for reuse. And I can go through here. Let's say I'll just pick this first one. And when I click on it, I'll get more information over here on the right. I can visit that page to see if there's anything specific I need to do as far as citations. And as I look through here, I can see a summary of this and the license. Another good source is Flickr. Now, if I Google Flickr Creative Commons, I'll get a whole bunch of information about Creative Commons and the different types of attributional licenses over here on the right. It's good to read through that and choose which one will meet your needs. Always make sure you cite your sources in your project. Photos for Class is another good online tool for finding photos to use with your classroom where you have the rights to use it. Just go to photosforclass.com and you may search for photos. Let's say I want to search for a picture of cells for my science class. So I type in cell and I get a bunch of pictures like this. And so over here, let's say I want to use this one. I'll click the download button. And once the photo downloads and it's on my system, I can upload it or open it. And I'll note that it gives me the attribution and the rights to use at the bottom of that picture. This is great for students to use because it also has the whole citation already on the actual photo. Finding music for a project can be challenging. Generally, you can use up to 30 seconds or 10%, whichever is less, of music and lyrics from a single musical work. Now, one easy-to-use online source for free music is YouTube, the YouTube audio library. You may just Google that, and if you're logged into Google, your screen should come up and look much like this. Peruse through thousands of pieces, and once you find one you want to try out, just click the play button on the left. If you like it, you want to download it. Before you download it by clicking the button on the right, make sure you've checked the Creative Commons attribution. If there's a symbol like this one, you may click it, and it'll give all the information you need in order to cite or give credit to that source. And that should be done inside your project. Always make sure you have the rights to use any multimedia material before sharing it. This especially includes sharing it on the web as through social media, and finally making sure you have given the source proper credit. We've talked about where you can find images and music online that are free to use and legally to use. What about movies? What can you use in your classroom? Well, movies purchased or rented may be played without a license. The United States grants a specific exemption under Section 110, Title 17, that allows nonprofit educational institutions to use movies in the classroom with these conditions. Was the movie obtained legally? Is a teacher present when the movie is played? If that's yes to both of those, then you may use it. Even if maybe you're a teacher next door hands you a movie that they have purchased, you may use it as long as you're present. One thing to note is you can't prevent a publisher from getting payment for its use. In other words, if you bought a movie and then you were charging to use that movie, then it would be illegal and you would be subject to payment to the publisher or who owns the rights to that movie. Well, what about online sources such as Netflix, these streaming video sites? Well, make sure you check the terms of use. But note also that most of these sites are blocked in Magnolia SD because they are not built for a public network. If you use a full-length movie in the classroom, and that's okay, well then, can I change it or remix it? Can I take one scene out of one movie and something similar to other movies and put it together and show it to my students? No, that would be illegal. You would have to get specific rights from each of the publishers in order to change it or remix it. Well, if you can use a full-length movie and show it to your students, can you play a song that you purchased? Of course you can, using the same rights, as long as you purchased it and you're present. The one thing to note here is that you cannot use the complete song in a project without permission. In other words, if you take that song that you purchased off of iTunes and you play all of it in a YouTube video or a presentation that you did, you're probably not within the rights of that licensing. Generally, the rule of thumb here is you can get by if you don't use more than 10% or 30 seconds, whichever is less. Otherwise, you need to get specific rights from the artist or the publisher. For links to the information presented here, please go to tinyurl.com/MISD copyright.